Tonight, major developments across Dominica and beyond. You're watching EmoNews Nightly Package for March 27th, 2026. I am Soanna Benjamin, and here are tonight's top stories. Geothermal energy power plant closer to be commissioned. Over $1 billion to be invested in Kalinago territory. No rehabilitation for Arawak House of Culture. And finally, Meta and YouTube found liable for creating products that harm young users. Stay tuned for the details of these stories.
Welcome to Antigua. Them people have no behavior, they have no behavior. Welcome to Antigua. Clear out how you know it's danger, how you know it's danger. When it comes to massive deadly.
In local news, a site visit on Dominica's geothermal plant revealed history in the making. Tests conducted on both generating units so far have been successful in producing power. Let's hear more from Dominica's Energy Minister, Honorable Vince Henderson.
We started testing, commissioning, the commissioning process on the geothermal power plant. And by March 5th, we turned on the first unit, and that was a very exciting moment for us, holding our breaths and crossing our fingers and everything we could cross, to hoping that there will in fact be power coming out of this of the generator. And we were very excited that we were able to achieve that on March 5th. Soon thereafter, we were able to synchronize the system here using an existing 11 kilovolt line connected to the loader hydropower station down to Fokole. Were able to provide power to Domlec. And that was a very exciting moment as the power started moving from 1 megawatt to 2 megawatts and at some point got to 4.5 megawatts and then to the full capacity that that generator could generate. The test, however, was very limited because we had not yet connected our new transmission line of 33 kilovolts that would carry the entire 10 megawatts from this unit.
The minister said that the strictest environmental regulations have been followed.
We did baseline studies first to see the flora and the fauna, the livelihoods in the area, and to determine how they may be affected. We did this and we then came up with a comprehensive plan to ensure mitigation, that is to say minimize the impact on the environment, and to create a system that would rather than impact, but would enhance the environment. So we did this, and with a strict monitoring system, we first had to meet the IFC standards, the International Financial Corporation, a member of the World Bank Group, and then we move on to funding from the Inter-American Development Bank through the Caribbean Development Bank. We had to also meet their requirements for environmental safety. We left all of those documents open for comments for 120 days to ensure that if somebody has a concern, they can raise it. We have engaged Mary-Jose Edwards and her company. We also have locals that are part of the World Bank supervision team, and they come to do spot checks to make sure we are not sending out anything into the environment, whether it's liquid or anything that could be dangerous. So if you notice, or when you visit, you will see we have ponds in the areas where we were drilling. All the stuff had to go in there, treated, go through another pond, make sure that there's nothing going out to the environment that can cause any harm.
In more local news, over $1 billion to be invested in the Kalinago territory in the fight against issues that continue to challenge our First People. This is according to Parliamentary Representative for the territory, and Minister for the Environment, Honorable Cozier Frederick, who spoke on his ministry's Let's Talk program on the national radio station.
Yeah, so we've been doing a few things in the Kalinago space. So we started a project with the help of UNDP a few years ago, and so we have a part two with some funding from the Indian government. So we're going to celebrate the bilateral partnership with the Indian government and to invest $1 billion in the first instance in the Kalinago space to treat with that issues that we think are worthy of protecting and developing. And so the phase two is what we did in the Kalinago space last week, where we are pushing forward a number of initiatives. So all of these, Liam, and also with the work that Israel have been doing with our emergency response group, or you want to call it disaster preparedness group. It's so important in continuing to build on the resiliency that we are proposing for the island.
Meanwhile, the Ministry of Environment, in collaboration with IsraAid, Dominica, and Eastern Caribbean, UNDP, Barbados, and the Eastern Caribbean, and the Jeff Small Grants Project held a ceremony last week to commemorate the signing of contracts for this multi-agency initiative. A major highlight of the ceremony was the donation of essential disaster management equipment to the Kalinago Disaster Committee. In 2025, IsraAid trained the committee in assessing hazards for local businesses and organizations and went a step further to actually deliver the physical tools and supplies needed to protect and support people during any emergency. And in response to a question posed at a recent press conference on the rehabilitation of Dominica's Arawak House of Culture, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit says the cost of the project has now surpassed $4.5 million. The Prime Minister explained that as work progressed, additional structural issues and deficiencies continued to surface, suggesting that rehabilitation may not have been the best option.
When you're going to touch an old building, your contingency must be even higher than the actual contract construction cost. So you just do not know what's going to happen. You understand? So, as they seek to do something, the problem comes up. You understand? The problem comes up. And the ministry did a comprehensive review of what needs to be done in the area. And I got a report this morning from the Ministry of Public Works, which says you will need at least $4.5 million to renovate the agriculture, lighting, and then you have termite infestation there, this and that.
The Prime Minister noted that his preference would have been for the construction of a new and improved facility. Addressing concerns about preserving the building's historic value, the Prime Minister said that history is in the mind.
Instead of trying to fix an old thing doesn't make sense to me. You know, and yeah, we talk about history and so, but to me, history has to be in your mind. But if you have history before you, it's not in your mind. So no value to you. The knowledge, if you lack knowledge of your history, that's what I tell you.
And in entertainment news, the Maho community is preparing a massive send-off for Calypso icon Cletus Halibut Abraham, with funeral services scheduled for Saturday, March 28th at the St. Martin de Porres Chapel in Kenfield, followed by burial at the Maho Public Cemetery. Mourners will have the opportunity to view the body during a brief stopover at the Maho Market from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. A grand tribute concert will take place on Sunday, March 29th at the Maho Market Grounds from 6 p.m., celebrating the life and legacy of the beloved artist. Halibut, who passed away on March 14th, was a former lead singer of the legendary Bells Combo and a celebrated soloist. He was known for numerous hits including Simplify Yourself, Jaws, Maleleve, and La Vie Vini Pli Wed, as well as his more recent popular songs Powerball and Wash Their Tongue. The tribute concert will feature performances by several local artists, family members, community leaders, and members of Bells Combo. The event will be anchored and produced by First Serenade Band and powered by Kyrie Songs. Organizers are encouraging a strong turnout as the community and the nation come together to honor one of Dominica's most enduring musical talents. And EmoNews extends sincerest condolences to his family and friends. And finally, in local news, 2 students of the Northeast Comprehensive School have emerged as winners of the WASCO's first ever inter-school quiz competition, held in observance of World Water Day. The Northeast Comprehensive team secured a decisive victory with 7,000 points, finishing well ahead of second-place winners, the Pierre Charles Secondary, who amassed 4,600 points. The Arthur Waldron SD Academy, the other participating school, placed third. Winners Nai August and Nisi Nelson say that despite having limited time to prepare, their hard work and determination paid off.
How we prepared for the contest was by doing some late night studies because of the short time that we got it. But even so, we were able to study enough and write down our notes, which helped us to retain our memory, and that helped us a lot in the competition.
We didn't get the questions early, so we couldn't prep them properly. So it feels amazing to have won first place and got the name for our school.
Okay, so one thing that I learned is that Dominica only has one sewage plant or factory, and it's called the Geothermal plant, and it's located in Antrim, just outside Cape Town.
I learned that there are many water sources in Dominica and that we can take the seawater and make fresh water.
And that's all for local news. We'll be right back with regional news. First up in regional news, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States Commission has partnered with Direct Relief to strengthen emergency response at its headquarters in Castries. Upgrades include a solar energy system, improved water and sanitation infrastructure, and solar lighting, aimed at boosting resilience and ensuring continued operations during emergencies. The project forms part of efforts to improve disaster preparedness across the region, particularly in the face of climate-related threats. Officials say the initiative reinforces their commitment to building resilience and supporting member states during crisis. And in more news from the OECS. The OECS joined global partners at the Island Nations Global Synergy Meeting 2026 in Tokyo to advance sustainable development and resilience for small island states. Hosted by the Sasakawa Peace Foundation, the meeting brought together stakeholders from the Caribbean, Pacific, and Indian Ocean regions to address shared challenges, including climate change, limited financing, and capacity gaps. Discussions focused on practical solutions such as community-led action, increased funding for resilience and the blue economy, youth empowerment, and stronger global collaboration. OECS Representative Nadej John-Baptiste emphasized the need for people-centered approaches. The Commission will also lead Caribbean coordination within the initiative, strengthening its role in advancing regional climate resilience. And finally, in regional news, the Barbuda branch of the Antigua and Barbuda Labour Party is urging the Barbuda Council to immediately implement a promised 5% salary increase for council workers. The party says workers in Barbuda have yet to receive the adjustment already granted to public servants nationwide, calling the delay unfair and harmful to morale. Party representatives are demanding swift action to ensure equity, align with national policy, and uphold commitments to workers. That's it for regional news. We'll be right back with international news.
Blast game in prison. So it's biggest job whatever. Blast mystery progressive. I'm so excited. I can't hide it. In you blast up and rising. And I like it. It going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up and up and up and up.
Play selected games to win in the Blast Mystery Progressive. Pick until you match 3 gems and win one of the 5 cash jackpots. Or you can blast up with the Mystery Progressive jackpot.
It going up and up and up and up and up. Blast up and up and up. Blast gaming.
And internationally, Russian Energy Minister Sergei Sivilev has confirmed that his country has sent humanitarian oil to Cuba, stating that the supplies are intended to support Cuba amid ongoing sanctions and pressure. Cuba, which imports about 60% of its energy, has been struggling since oil shipments from Venezuela were cut off, leading to frequent power outages. The situation has been further compounded by U.S. sanctions targeting fuel supplies to the island. Recent reports indicate at least one Russian tanker has already delivered fuel to Havana, while additional humanitarian shipments, including food and medical supplies, are also being sent. Meanwhile, the United States has tightened restrictions, barring transactions involving Russian oil shipments to Cuba as geopolitical tensions over the crisis continue. In more international stories, Russia has launched large-scale drone attacks across Ukraine, firing more than 1,000 drones in just 36 hours as part of a renewed offensive. Ukrainian officials say the strikes, some carried out in rare daytime assaults, hit multiple regions and mark a shift in Russian tactics. President Zelensky says at least 40 people were injured, including children, while several civilians were killed in attacks on residential areas and a maternity hospital. The escalation comes as Russian forces push a spring offensive in eastern Ukraine, raising concerns about increased pressure on Ukrainian defenses and greater risk to civilians. In news from the United States, wildfires continue to devastate parts of the U.S., with Nebraska among the hardest hit as the 2026 fire season intensifies. More than 800,000 acres have burned across the state, including the record-breaking Morrill Fire and the Cottonwood Fire. New fires, including the Ashby and minor blazes in Grant County, have added to the crisis, consuming tens of thousands of additional acres. Fire crews supported by National Guard helicopters and air tankers are battling the flames amid strong winds, while some areas like the Morrill Fire are now fully contained and others remain under control despite flare-ups. The human and agricultural toll is significant, with more than 35,000 cattle displaced, grazing land destroyed, and families forced to evacuate as fast-moving fires swept through communities. Officials warn that ongoing weather conditions could continue to challenge firefighting efforts, underscoring the scale and severity of this year's wildfire season. And finally, in international news, a jury has found that Meta and YouTube are liable for creating products that led to harmful and addictive behavior by young users, a landmark decision that could set a legal precedent for similar allegations brought against social media companies. And that's all for international news. Stay tuned for sports.
Don't forget, today we have funeral, we have functions. Make sure you're on time.
Always on time, eh?
You're always on time. Make sure. All right. Papa Met, look, I just received a message from National Bank asking me to regain access to my account. Look at a message that your account has been placed on hold due to an unusual activity. Let me click that link.
How many times NBD has to say that they will never ever send links via text message to regain access to account or to restore account or to do anything with account?
So National Bank that's in it, I believe it. I just click in.
Emo, if you are not sure, it's better if you call National Bank at 255-2300 or email them at customersupport@nbd.dm.
Papa Met, little again I lose all the little money I save up from my account.
And you'd find money to pay me.
Yeah, I tell you, I almost click the link and almost lose my money. Talking about I hope I have money to pay you. Let's go, eh?
All I know is don't click any link. Call NBD instead.
Yeah, let us
Okay.
go now, business.
In sports news, the national senior men's football team went up against Guyana today at 3 p.m. in the first match of the CONCACAF Friendly Series in the Dominican Republic. The Nature Boys went down to Guyana in a hard-fought match. Here are the results. We wish them better luck as they face Dutch St. Martin on Monday. In cricket news, the West Indies women are gearing up for a 3-match ODI series against Australia women at Warner Park, following a competitive T20 series in St. Vincent. Despite a 3-0 T20 series loss to the world's top-ranked side, the Maroon Warriors show resilience and promise, with standout performances from captain Hayley Matthews, Deandra Dottin, and veteran Stephanie Taylor. Opener Kiana Joseph also made strides in the ICC Women's T20 rankings, climbing 14 places to 33rd. 3 changes have been made to the squad for the ODI series, with Rialiana Grimond, Ashmini Munisa, and Chanel Saw coming in. Head coach Shane Dietz said the team is focused on building for the future and improving consistency, noting the importance of strong performances as they work toward World Cup qualification. The ODI series will be played at Warner Park, with matches scheduled for March 27th, 29th, and April 2nd, all starting at 2 p.m. And finally, in local sports, Roosevelt Douglas Primary, Dubla Collyhope Kulibistri combined team have advanced to the semi-finals of the NBD Sports Division Primary Schools Boys Division 1 football competition, following matches in the North Immediate round on Tuesday. Roosevelt Douglas Primary topped Zone A with a perfect 6 points from 2 matches, while Cassibruce Primary secured second place after winning a penalty shootout over Calibishi Primary, with both teams finishing on 1 point. In Zone B, the Dubla Collio Kulibistri combined team finished first on goal difference after all teams ended on 3 points. St. John's Primary placed second after edging Sinuku Primary in a penalty shootout. In the playoff stage, Roosevelt Douglas dominated St. John's Primary 5-0 to secure their semi-final spot. Micah Charles scored a hat-trick, while Omari Caesar and Trayvon Valerie added 1 goal each. The Dubla Collyhope Kulibistri combined team also advanced after defeating Cassibruce Primary 4-1. Dylan Francois netted a hat-trick, with Imani Antoine adding the 4th goal. Taj Banis scored the lone goal for Cassibruce Primary. Roosevelt Douglas Primary is the top-scoring team so far with 17 goals, while Micah Charles leads the scoring chart with 8 goals. Omari Caesar and Dylan Francois follow with 5 goals each. And that's all for sports news. Stay tuned for the weather report from the Dominica Meteorological Service. This has been EmoNews Nightly Package for March 27th, 2026. I am your presenter, Soana Benjamin. Have a lovely weekend, everyone, and stay safe.